How do you pick a woman for a long-term relationship? Yeah, I got the answer for that. So let's get at it. Hello, I'm Robert Johnson. Thank you for tuning in to the Legacy Gentleman channel. So I've been answering this question that I got on Facebook about really being in a long-term relationship and like what should a legacy gentleman look for when they're going into a long-term relationship. I've talked about what you should be as a man, what the woman should be, and now I'm going to talk about what the actual long-term relationship should look like. So, I'm going to start off with this. Don't do it. I've said this before about something else. But anyway, don't get in a long-term relationship and surely don't get married. It might sound a little hypocritical coming from me, a person who has been married for over 20 years, but I got married over 20 years ago and women were different and life was different. And the laws about marriage and long-term cohabitation were not as anti-men as they are now. And I am a Christian. I believe that Christ wants us to get married. And I think that I would still tell you, don't get married. But that wasn't the question. The question is, what if you've already decided that you want to get in this long-term relationship? What should this long-term relationship look like? And then, of course, with me being a man who came from a house that was raised by a divorced mother, married a woman who came from a house with a divorced mother, and we've built this long-lasting relationship, longer than most people I know, and definitely longer than a lot of black couples I know. And so I think that's kind of the basis of the question. So I'm going to actually try and do my best to answer it and what that relationship should look like. This relationship should be something that you understand is part of the legacy you are building. It is part of the children you're building. It's part of the business you're building. It is part of this persona that you are actually building that's going to be building on your success. This relationship and this person you're bringing into your life and in this life journey to your success is going to be a complement to it. And that's what your long-term relationship or your spouse really should be, a complement to your vision. She should and cannot be the one that drives that vision, but she should be someone who comes alongside of you and assists you in getting there. There'll be debates about if you would have gotten there without her, but in honesty, it's you were going there anyway. She came along for the ride and she didn't have to be there. You want her there, and the stuff that she's providing you, maybe she's doing awesome and she's doing great at it, but that's something that is a compliment to it and not a necessity. The next thing a legacy relationship should look like, it's something that can stand on its own. And that's really the truth. You're gonna have a spouse or a long-term girlfriend, and then you'll have children, and all of them are gonna be tied directly to you and your legacy. They're gonna look at your wife and say, that's so-and-so's wife, that guy that built this and did this awesome thing in the community, that is who he is. That's their children from, that guy. I keep thinking about Paris Hilton and like, that's Paris Hilton of the Hilton dynasty, or that's LeBron James' child, or that's that person's girlfriend or wife. That's person who used to be married to Future, or who Future's baby mama. Like, those are all things that the people you bring in your life, and when they're identified with you, and it's going to add to or subtract from your legacy. And you need to make sure that that woman that you bring into a long-term relationship, when she is spoken about in relation to the legacy you building, it is a positive, and it's not something that drags that hard work and name and reputation you've built through the mud. And like I said in the last video, that takes vetting, and you're gonna have to vet very well to make sure that happens. And then the last thing that a legacy relationship looks like, it looks like what it's supposed to, a shining example for the people in the future. It needs to be rock solid, it needs to be beneficial, and it won't be effortless, but it will be far better and easier than if you took the route where you didn't vet them well, where you had a lot of problems, and where you were fighting against your spouse or your significant other to build a vision that you brought them in to help you do. So it needs to actually live up to that legacy of being somebody that is actually 100% a benefit, that adds shine to your relationship, and that is the model example. Sounds easy, right? But look, that's the whole point of it. I want to reiterate, what does a legacy long-term relationship or spousal look like? But they all come down to this one thing. There's supposed to be stuff that build up on everything that you've been working toward. It is based on respect, love, and moving in a direction based on the legacy gentleman's leadership. These things are really not that hard to find because you're going to have to be the one that's driving it. It's going to take you being the best you can be, and then demanding of yourself that you hold the standards. And then once you hold those standards, you demand it from everyone who wants to enter into your life. And that is the way you build a legacy long-term relationship. So gentlemen, thanks for stopping by. If you found the information in this video useful, please like it and let somebody else know about it. And feel free to send me some more questions on any of my socials. They're all Legacy Gentlemen, or just write down a comment in this video. And I will see you next time.